up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk Celtics, off-season buzz, and maybe, just maybe, the future home of Boston basketball. Because yeah, even though we're deep in the NBA off-season lull, that weird, quiet zone where training camp haven't started and most players are still wrapping up summer vacations, there's still a lot to chew on. And trust me, this might feel like a downtime, but what's happening behind the scenes could have serious implications on the franchise for years to come. So let's start right where things are getting interesting. Ownership and the future home of the Boston Celtics. Because while most fans are counting down the days until tip-off, the front office, and more importantly, the new ownership group, has some big decisions to make. The kind of decisions that don't just affect the next season, but could reshape the identity of the team entirely. Now, if you haven't been following closely, here's the scoop. There's been a big shift in the Celtics ownership structure. A massive deal, reportedly in the multi-billion-dollar range, just closed. And whenever someone drops that kind of cash, we're talking close to $7 billion. You can bet there's more at play than just a love for the game. This isn't monopoly money. This is a serious investment. And any investor, no matter how diehard fan they might be, is going to ask, where's the return? That's where it gets real. Because as it turns out, and this might surprise some of you, the Boston Celtics do not own TD Garden. That's right. The arena, the concessions, the parking, the events, all of it flows through the Boston Bruins ownership, not the Celtics. It's one of those little-known business quirks that doesn't get talked about much, but matters a lot. Every dollar spent inside the Garden technically passes through the hands of the Bruins management. So while the Celtics get to play there, they're not reaping the full financial benefits of the building. And when you've just paid billions for a team, you probably want a little more than a front-row seat. This brings us to the big conversation. Will the Celtics get a new arena? And yeah, the possibility is real. The math adds up. You don't drop billions on a team and just accept a long-term lease on someone else's turf. That's not how major sports franchises operate anymore. Just look at the recent trend across the league. Whether it's new stadiums in Sacramento, plans in Oklahoma City, or the constant push for upgrades in places like Chicago and Atlanta, teams are thinking long-term. They're building for the future. They're building for control. Now think about Boston. Think about the identity of this team, of this city. The Garden, even the new Garden, is sacred ground. It echoes with the ghosts of Russell, Bird, and Pierce. But that nostalgia doesn't pay the bills. Not in this era, and especially not when the building belongs to another franchise entirely. That's why, if you read between the lines, all signs point to a possible, maybe even likely, push for a brand new state-of-the-art Celtics arena. And that's where things get spicy. Because while a new building might make sense financially, you can't ignore the emotional pull of location. Boston fans are not like fans in other cities. There's pride. There's tradition. There's history on every block. And for some, the idea of the Celtics playing anywhere other than downtown Boston feels like sacrilege. So here's the big question. If a new arena is on the horizon, where should it be? There's already been speculation about the Seaport District, a part of the city that's undergone a massive transformation in the past decade. For those of you who haven't been around Boston in a while, let me tell you, the Seaport today is unrecognizable from what it was 20 years ago. Back in the early 2000s, that area was a ghost town. You wouldn't go there unless you were lost or taking a shortcut. Now, it's one of the most vibrant parts of the city. Modern buildings, tech companies, luxury apartments, waterfront views. It's got all the ingredients of a high-end sports and entertainment district. So yeah, it makes sense. If you're going to build a new stadium that captures both the culture of Boston and the energy of a modern fan base, the Seaport is a strong contender. You've got access, you've got development momentum, and most importantly, you stay in the city. But of course, there's always that other route, the dreaded suburban move. And for Boston fans, that brings up one name, Foxborough. Now don't get me wrong, Foxborough is home to the Patriots, and Gillette Stadium is a monster in its own right. Over the years, they've done a solid job turning that area into a legit destination. There's a shopping center, restaurants, bars. The whole experience is more than just football. It's an event. But even the biggest Pats fan will tell you, getting in and out of Foxborough, an absolute nightmare. One way in, one way out. traffic for hours. It's a logistical mess, especially when you're coming from the city or relying on public transit. Imagine that same headache for an 82-game basketball season. Not ideal. And yeah, the World Cup's coming, and Gillette is hosting some of those games, but we're talking about special events here. You can deal with a long commute once or twice a year. But if you're a season ticket holder trying to catch a Tuesday night game in January, that drive turns into a deal-breaker real quick. So if the Celtics are serious about maximizing fan engagement, and you'd have to think they are, keeping the team within city limits has to be the priority. Build the arena somewhere that's still walkable, still T-accessible, still Boston. Anything less would be a disservice to the fans, the city, and the franchise's legacy. But here's the other layer, the business layer. Because let's be honest, the Seaport isn't cheap. Building a brand new arena in downtown Boston is going to cost a fortune. And that's before you even start talking about land use, permits, city council approvals, and, oh yeah, taxes. Lots and lots of taxes. Which leads to the inevitable question that comes up every time a new stadium is on the table. Who's paying for this? Because as much as we love the idea of a shiny new arena, it almost always ends up being a battle between billionaire owners and city taxpayers. You've seen it before. Some guy drops billions on a team, then turns around and says, "Hey, public, how about footing the bill for my new billion-dollar building?" And somehow, cities often say yes. It's a crazy system. And if Boston's leadership isn't careful, they could end up repeating the same mistakes. There's already a ton of pressure on local government to improve housing, schools, infrastructure. The last thing anyone wants is public money going to a private arena, especially for a franchise that's already worth billions. That debate is coming, and it's going to be messy. But despite the politics, there's a very real chance this happens. Because from a business standpoint, it's hard to argue against it. If the Celtics build their own arena, a building made for basketball, tailored for fan experience, loaded with modern tech, and fully under their control, they unlock a whole new revenue stream. No more sharing concessions. No more renting space. No more negotiating dates with the Bruins. Full control. Full profit. And on top of all that, you've got other teams already playing the long game. The Oklahoma City Thunder just secured a new arena deal. The Sacramento Kings have already proven how transformative a modern, fan-focused stadium can be. And with more franchises recognizing the value of arena ownership, the pressure is real. The Celtics can't afford to fall behind, especially when they're already renting space from a rival. So yeah, it's the off-season. But this kind of news, this kind of decision, it's going to shape the next 20 years of Celtics basketball, where the team plays, how the fans experience it, how the city interacts with it. It all starts with that first step. And as we wait for the next headline to drop, the question remains, what's more important, history or opportunity? And while we're on the topic of legacy versus evolution, let's not forget what's really at stake here, the future image of the Boston Celtics. Because when you invest in infrastructure, you're not just building a place to play, you're building the brand brick by brick. You're setting the tone for how fans experience the team, how players view the organization, and how the league perceives your relevance. That's not just a real estate move, that's a cultural one. And Boston, of all cities, understands that better than most. Still, even with all this infrastructure talk and speculation about the Seaport District or other corners of the city, the Celtics find themselves in another kind of crossroads. A legacy player still hangs in limbo, and it's not someone you can brush off. We're talking about Al Horford, Big Al, the veteran presence, the anchor, the guy who's quietly been the heartbeat of multiple Celtics playoff runs, even if he never demanded the spotlight. And here we are. It's September 1st. The calendar has officially flipped to the month before training camps begin, and Al Horford is still unsigned. Still not locked in anywhere. Still floating in that strange NBA limbo. And listen, I get it. He's not 28 anymore. He's not the guy dropping 20 and 10 every night. But he doesn't have to be. Because when you've got a team stacked with stars, with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, what you really need is glue. Someone who knows the system. Someone who knows the culture. Someone who's been in the wars, who doesn't panic when things get tight, who sets the tone in the locker room and on the floor without needing the ball. That's Al. That's always been Al. And the fact that he's not currently on an NBA roster feels off. And sure, some of this might come down to money. He's earned the right to not just take whatever deal is sitting on the table. But there's also a growing feeling that this situation is tied to what's happening over in Golden State. Yeah, the Warriors, that team that's been a dynasty for the better part of the last decade, have also been in a bit of a weird standoff with their own roster. All signs point to Al Horford as a target for them, especially with the uncertainty around Jonathan Kuminga's future. Restricted free agency, trade rumors, roster shuffling. It's all made things murky. And while Horford may be keeping quiet publicly, you better believe he's watching it all unfold carefully. But let's talk hypotheticals. Let's say Golden State does lock him up. That's one thing. But if they don't, there's still a door open. And I think Celtics fans are hoping it leads straight back to Boston. Because even if the financials are tricky, even if the minutes are limited, there's something poetic about Horford getting one more shot with this group. One more year, one more run, maybe a team-friendly one-year deal with a player option attached, just to give everyone flexibility. Something like that wouldn't just make sense, it would feel right. Imagine him sticking around through October, catching a few Red Sox games, watching the leaves turn. That's the kind of vibe that might make a veteran like Horford think, you know what? I'm not ready to say goodbye to this city. And yeah, I get it. Nostalgia doesn't win titles. Sentiment doesn't earn rings. But culture, continuity, leadership, those things do matter, especially in the playoffs, especially when the pressure is highest. Now, if Horford doesn't come back, sure, there are other options. We've heard the names. Daniel Tice has been floated. There are younger bigs like Nemias Quetta and Luka Garza who are looking to carve out a role. But none of them bring what Al does. Not even close. And that's not a knock on them. It's just a fact. Horford knows how to read a defense, how to switch when he needs to, how to space the floor, how to anchor a unit of young guys who are still figuring things out. And don't underestimate what that does for someone like Jason Tatum. Because, yeah, Tatum is the face of the franchise. But he's still only 26. He's still learning how to lead, how to carry the weight of expectations. Having someone like Horford in the locker room, someone who's seen it all, gives you a buffer, a voice of reason, a guy who can look you in the eye during a timeout and tell you to calm down, get back on defense, and play your game. Now, maybe none of this happens. Maybe Horford signs with a contender in the West, somewhere out of sight and out of mind. Phoenix, Sacramento, maybe even the Lakers if they decide to make a late move. That would sting. But if it happens, please, let it be anywhere but the Sixers or the Knicks. That would just be wrong. You don't want to see him in a rival jersey, walking into the Garden to booze. That's not how this chapter should end. So if he leaves, let him leave quietly, respectfully, to a team we only see twice a year. And again, looping back to Golden State, what exactly are they doing? Because for all the dynasty talk, that team is aging fast. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry, sure. But Klay's not the same. Draymond is, well, Draymond. And they haven't really made any big splashes. It's weird, because if they really wanted to maximize their window, Horford would already be there. But they're dragging it out. The Kuminga situation hasn't been resolved. And at this point, you wonder if it's less about strategy and more about indecision. So in the meantime, Boston waits. Al waits. And fans sit with that feeling. The hope that somehow this all clicks into place and we get one last ride with a guy who's meant so much to the franchise. And while we're talking about big questions and wild takes, let's shift gears for a second, because a quote dropped recently that reignited one of the oldest, loudest debates in basketball, the GOAT conversation. This time, courtesy of Michael Porter Jr., who, bless his heart, just can't seem to stay away from a hot mic. According to MPJ, Nikola Jokic is already the greatest basketball player of all time. That's right. Not just the best center, not just the best of this generation, of all time. And his reasoning? Jokic could have won 5 straight MVPs. 5 in a row. That's his logic. And honestly, that's where the whole argument falls apart. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers have begun circulating around the basketball world following the shocking yet tantalizing news that Sandro Mamukelashvili, the breakout star of Eurobasket 2025, has reportedly signed a contract with the Boston Celtics. While official confirmation from the franchise has not yet materialized, sources close to the negotiations suggest that the deal could dramatically reshape the team's strategy heading into the upcoming NBA season. Mamukelashvili, known for his versatile skill set, exceptional court vision, and uncanny ability to score under pressure, has been the focal point of numerous scouting reports since his electrifying performances in Europe, where he led his national team to an unexpected surge in the tournament. Rumors claim that Celtics executives were captivated by not only his on-court abilities, but also his leadership qualities, which many insiders say will be crucial for a squad hungry for a championship. The whispers further indicate that discussions surrounding salary structure, contract length, and performance incentives have been particularly intense, highlighting the high stakes involved in landing such a coveted talent. Fans and analysts alike are already speculating how Mamukelashvili's presence could alter the Celtics' rotation, especially given the team's ongoing efforts to balance veteran experience with the infusion of young, dynamic players who can adapt to modern NBA playstyles, potentially transforming their offensive and defensive schemes in ways previously unimaginable. As the story gains traction across social media platforms and sports media outlets, the notion of Mamukelashvili joining the Celtics is generating an extraordinary mix of excitement and skepticism, fueling endless debates among fans and pundits. Observers have been dissecting game footage from Eurobasket 2025, scrutinizing every maneuver, fadeaway, and defensive rotation that defined Mamukelashvili's breakout performances. Insider chatter hints that Boston's front office may have identified him as a solution to lingering concerns regarding floor spacing, pick-and-roll efficiency, and clutch scoring, areas where the team has faced criticism in recent seasons. Meanwhile, rival franchises are reportedly watching the developments closely, with some sources suggesting that a quiet bidding war almost erupted before the Celtics secured preliminary terms. Rumors also swirl around the possibility that Mamukelashvili might instantly become a fan favorite, not only because of his athletic prowess, but also due to his reportedly engaging personality and professionalism off the court. Analysts predict that his integration into Boston's locker room could be a story in itself, with whispers of mentorship from seasoned stars and potential chemistry challenges adding layers of intrigue to what might already be one of the most talked-about acquisitions of the offseason, making every tweet and speculation-laden podcast segment a hotspot for debate. Speculative chatter surrounding the contract has also raised eyebrows regarding how Mamukelashvili's signing might impact the Celtics' future roster moves, trade strategies, and salary cap planning. Sources allege that the Celtics are balancing long-term commitments to their current core with the immediate opportunity to capitalize on Mamukelashvili's Eurobasket momentum, creating a delicate juggling act that insiders suggest could define the franchise's trajectory for years. Rumor mills have been particularly abuzz with conjectures about potential shifts in team dynamics, where the integration of a high-caliber European talent might necessitate adjustments to starting lineups, minutes distribution, and offensive schemes. Speculation extends even further, with some commentators proposing that Mamukelashvili could become a centerpiece in marketing campaigns targeting international audiences, especially given his rising popularity across Europe. While contract details remain shrouded in mystery, sources hint at performance incentives tied to playoff achievements, all-star appearances, and statistical milestones, fueling ongoing debates among fans regarding whether the deal represents a shrewd long-term investment or a risky gamble. Meanwhile, whispers in the league indicate that Boston scouts have been quietly observing similar talents in recent years, and the acquisition of Mamukelashvili might signal a broader strategy of embracing global basketball influences, potentially redefining the team's identity in a league that increasingly values versatility, adaptability, and international appeal. The murmurs surrounding this signing have also sparked conversations about the stylistic evolution of both Mamukelashvili and the Celtics, raising questions about how European tactical philosophies might blend with Boston's traditional NBA approach. Speculation is rampant that the team may be preparing to implement offensive sets designed to exploit Mamoukalashvili's pick-and-pop proficiency, post-up skills, and ability to stretch defenses with perimeter shooting. Rumors suggest that veteran players have been given early insights into potential adjustments, fostering a locker room environment rich in curiosity and cautious optimism. Though some insiders hint at underlying tensions as roles and responsibilities are quietly renegotiated. Off the court, social media has been flooded with images, highlight reels, and meme-worthy moments emphasizing Mamoukalashvili's supposed influence, contributing to a growing sense of anticipation while simultaneously fueling debates about whether he can sustain Eurobasket-level performances in the grueling NBA schedule. In parallel, whispers hint that the coaching staff is contemplating creative rotations to maximize his impact without disrupting team chemistry, possibly experimenting with lineups that were previously deemed unconventional. Pundits and analysts have taken to dissecting every possible scenario, from playoff matchups to offensive efficiency metrics, producing a continuous stream of speculation about how a single signing could catalyze a strategic revolution within one of the NBA's most storied franchises, making the rumor not just a talking point, but a lens through which the Celtics' future trajectory is being intensely scrutinized. Finally, the crescendo of rumor surrounding Mamoukalashvili's prospective Celtics tenure is intensifying as insiders suggest that negotiations could be nearing a critical juncture, with final contract details reportedly being hashed out behind closed doors. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.